everybody, I'm Lisa Young Sutton and welcome to my channel. Now I have an interesting and an intriguing grand tableau to share with you today, and I say that for two reasons. One, it's interesting because I'm using the moon card in a bit of a different way. This is an attracting and manifesting, an attraction manifestation spread. Two, this is intriguing because the reading itself has me intrigued. This is a reading I just performed for a very mysterious man who contacted me online for a reading recently, and just as I was about to tell him my usual no, because I am not performing readings for anyone right now, I am focusing on my writing. Instead, for some reason, I said yes. Like it just, I have no idea, it just kind of came out as a yes. And I now know why, because I actually developed this spread because of this reading. And I actually created a few more. I've been trying it out on friends, and I will share that process at the end of this video. It's working out really well. I think you're really going to like this. Okay, so back to this man. He was very cryptic. He did not want to share any information with me. He provided no feedback for me. He simply, at the end of this, he simply thanked me and paid me, and that was it. There was no back and forth conversation. He did not answer any of my questions, nothing. This is all he told me, that he was a journalist and an author. And he gave me a question. Why is my following dwindling so dramatically right now? Okay, his reader base is falling off, and he wants to know why. So, I thought about his question, and I thought about how best to approach it, and the moon card came to my mind as it represents one's reputation, how others see you, but it's also the card of attraction. And I thought, you know what, he just wants to know, what am I attracting right now and why? So that's where this whole spread came from. Now, keep in mind that there's no time frame for this spread. It's a snapshot in time. This is just a picture of the present moment. So when you're asking the cards, how am I doing in manifesting, X, Y, or Z, you're asking for just a snapshot in time. What am I doing right now that's either helping or hindering the manifestation process? Okay? All right. So, the process I used, well, I set my intention to focus on the cards around him and the cards around the moon. And that's all you need to look at. Like I said, at the end, I'm going to share the other cards that I've used to develop this spread into a more complete manifestation spread. But, as I got into interpreting these cards, I did also include his column and his line of sight. And, that's the way it should always be for you. You set your intention on whether or not you're going to use houses, if you're using method of distance, if you're going to, what cards you're going to look at, who are the players, right? Who does 28 and 29 represent? You set all those intentions, but, when you get into the interpretation process, sometimes your eyes lead you to diagonal lines and to night and this and that, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so remember, as you watch me work through this GT, that I am a method of distance reader, and I typically don't use houses unless I'm laying a specific house spread, so I did not use houses here. Okay, now what's the first thing I noticed? First of all, here he is. And of course, she's over here, but we don't even know who she is because he didn't tell me anything. So she doesn't matter anyway in this spread. Yeah, so the first thing I noticed was his position. He's all the way in the fourth row, so he's in a position of little control. And the moon is just out of his reach, right? So, yeah, he's not being looked upon favorably, which, he already knows that, but it's also, he can't quite get a handle on what he's trying to manifest, right? So the two big red flags that I noticed right away were the lily and the clouds. He's trampling the lily. This is a classic method of distance technique. It's a big red flag. He's trampling the lily. That means he's doing something wrong. He's doing something morally questionable. All right? The clouds not only touch him, but he's moving into them as I read left to right, and the dark side is facing him. It's not just facing him, it's touching him. He's in a dark place. All right. All right. So, and of course that dark side of the clouds is also influencing that lily. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, you know, if you don't have my second book yet, let me just mention that all of the techniques that I'm discussing in this spread that I'm sharing with you, or the method of distance techniques rather, are all described and explained to perfection in my second book, the Petit Lenormand Traditional Grand Tableau, a new look at the method of distance. And of course it goes with my first book, The Big Daddy, the whole basis of the Petit Lenormand and everything you ever wanted to know about it. All right. Okay, so let's see, what else did I notice right away other than that? Well, like I said, he's trampling the lily, so he's doing something morally questionable. He could be acting dishonestly, or, you know, with bad intentions. And when you see that, you always want to look for the child card, because while the lily directly below the seeker shows bad intentions, what is the child the card of? Good intentions, pure intentions, innocence. So you want to see the child nearby, and it's not. I mean, it is in his comfort zone, so we could say it is playing somewhat of a part in this. It's kind of diluting this a bit, but it's not close enough for me anyway. So he is definitely doing something morally questionable. All right, now the cards touching his. Well, what do the cards touching the seeker's card mean anyway? I mean, they're the cards that show what's most relevant in that seeker's life at that moment, right? The cards above can show what's on the seeker's mind, the thoughts, what's influencing them, right? What's the weighing on them. And the card directly below basically just says or explains how they're dealing with all the cards around them, all that you're gleaning, all the information you're gleaning from these cards. The card below is telling you how they deal with it. It can show their character. It's often described as what they stand on or what they own. Well, you know, most people say, well, what on earth does that mean? It's kind of their true essence. Like I said, their character, who they really are, how they deal with everything. It can show what they already know. Like I said, who they already are. It can show their profession. It's really describing them, their essence. All right. Okay, so because I looked at the card below him, and then I looked at the card directly above him, I thought I would look at his entire column. Now, the bear represents assertiveness and control, or being controlled. It's in an influencing position, right? And it can also represent a feeling of protecting what one has. Okay, the tower represents ego and ambition. It's also the card of legalities and rules. Now, both of those cards represent power and authority and can represent his boss or the rules he must adhere to as a journalist. Yeah, he's striving to get to the top of that tower, right? Where his heart's desires reside. But notice the heart is just out of his reach, so he just can't do what he really wants to do. What he is desiring, he can't get there. So he really is being controlled, that told me. Okay, now the tower and bear together say that he has to do things in a certain rigid way. He's inflexible. Right? He can't change what he's doing. And that led me to look for the stork. And yes, the stork, the card of change and flexibility, because the two go hand in hand. You must be flexible to change, and you can't change if you're not flexible, right? And it's out of his reach. All right, so I also noticed that two of the three cards directly above his head, the three cards that are above his head and touching him, right here, two of the three are cerebral cards. So they're cards that relate to thoughts and ideas and what's going on in his mind, his brain. All right. So, and of course we have another cerebral card right here in front of him. So there's three right here. So there's a lot going on in his head here. And it looks like he's got secrets, the book, that he must protect, the bear, and that's causing consistent unease. The birds, okay? Yeah. So since I looked at his column, I decided to look at his line of sight. His line of sight is his row, his entire row. All right. So it starts with the mountain. He's got a lot of obstacles and challenges. I get that from the fish following the mountain. And the mountain is near. That says he has a mighty enemy. Now that could be a person. That could be his boss, or it could be the rules that he's not willing to break, which is leaving his writing boring. Got the tree down here, or lacking in depth, right? Depth is the fish. The book is withholding facts and preventing his writing from having depth. The book, bear, and mountain, right? Book, bear, and mountain are all touching the fish. And I started looking at the fish as circulation, the circulation of his words, his writing, right? So they're also, all three of these cards are kind of preventing the circulation from happening. Now, fish is mirrored by clouds. So the circulation is unpredictable and troubling. And he can't see where he's going. He's moving into the clouds. The clouds can represent a smoke screen. And even the clearing side of the clouds is being drawn into the dangerous action of the scythe. He's got to take risks from a place of clouded perception, right? Him, the clouds, the scythe. He's taking risks, that's the scythe, from a place of clouded perception. Yeah. So the scythe is facing the letter, right? It always makes me think of a letter opener. It's opening twisted information, though. It's got the snake on the other side. And, you know, the scythe and the letter together can be interrupted or edited communication, right? What he's disclosing is being dissected. It can also represent sharp words shared aggressively or abruptly. Now, lastly, for his line of sight here, we have the snake facing the ring. Now, the snake is complex and complicated, and it entangles whatever it touches. The ring then keeps that going around and around in a twisted way, right? So the snake represents lies and deceit, and the ring shows that he's bound to this. We could also say that he's betraying those he's connected to, his readers. Ooh, the intrigue just kept building as I was going through this. All right, so now let's look at the mirrored pairs of cards around him. All right, so how do I read the cards around any topic card, theme card? I read the mirrored pairs. So that's the book and the tree, the fish and the clouds, the bear and the lily, and the birds they're flying on their own. All right, so the book and the tree. Well, the book represents facts that aren't yet known, or information that exists. It's recorded, but it hasn't been disclosed yet, right? That's why we use the book to represent education. You don't go to school because you already know what's in the book. You go to school to, buy the book and open the book and read the book and learn what's in the book, right? So that's why the book represents both facts and hidden facts, right? Secrets and knowledge, both at the same time. Yeah, it's a cool card. All right, so the book meets the tree, which is near and thus represents an unhealthy state. Now, sometimes it's helpful to look at the tree card as representing a dense and dark forest where things get lost, right? It takes time to find your way out. It's a timing card of a slow period of time, right? Slow growth. So we could say that the facts aren't being revealed. They're stuck in the forest, and the clouds over the tree makes it unstable and makes its growth unpredictable. I mean, he's not disclosing everything to his readers, or what he's disclosing is unhealthy or boring. Something's missing. That's why the readers are finding his words boring. They're like, there's something not right here, and it's not all here. Yeah. Now, I also see that because of the garden behind the book. Right? The garden represents the public. We can see a lack of knowledge or facts being shared with others, like the public doesn't have access to the truth and they're feeling it. So the fish and the clouds. Well, usually people look at the fish and the clouds and the first thing they think of is money troubles. But given the context of this reading and looking at all the cards, I saw it as confused or troubled values. Now think about that for a moment. The fish is the card of abundance and adding value to your life, and it represents what you place value on. right? Or in this reading, it can represent the freedom to circulate his words. And the clouds is concealing his words or making them ambiguous. So in this case, he may be trying to conceal what he profits from. In other words, he's trying to protect his job. So the bear and the lily, is he or his boss trying to enforce their own brand of moral principles? If we look at the lily as the harmony with his boss or with those he writes for, the bear says that this harmony and his satisfaction with his work is being influenced, by his boss, and his writing style is now too assertive or too aggressive. Yeah. All right. So now let's look at the moon. Remember that it's out of his reach and thus out of his control at this time. So we have first the rider and the mice. Well, the rider, we can look at this in two ways. The rider is delivering filth and corruption, or what the rider is delivering is lacking or missing something. Either way, his approach is dirty and dishonest. Now we have the crossroads, ways, paths, number 22, meets the scythe. So that says dangerous choices, risky path. He's on a risky path. He's it can also mean hasty decisions, taking shortcuts. It can mean that. I really saw it as him being on a risky path and making a dangerous choice. The fox and the letter. There's something wrong with what he's writing, with what he's communicating, what he's sharing. This fox and letter can say shady conversations are happening. It can represent a misrepresentation of what's being disclosed. And misinformation is being shared, right? Fox and letter, yeah. So what else do we have? Oh, the stars meets the snake. Okay, what's progressing, that's the stars, what he's already currently manifesting is dangerous and convoluted and deceitful. Now note that the stars is in his comfort zone to show that what he's currently doing, right? What his current plans, how they're taking shape, are successful. But that doesn't mean that it's right, or it's right for him or anybody else. Doesn't mean he likes it. Just means that what he's currently doing, trying to do, is working. It's progressing, right? But the fox is facing it to say that it's wrong, right? That's where I get that from. So the fox is the card of trickery, and it can represent falling into a trap, which I really started feeling like he was. He was in a trap, right? So again, it's looking like he's being coerced into withholding the truth and writing lies. The fox is masked. He's phony. He's fake. He's shady. And if the fox shows misinformation, then the progress of his plans shown by the stars is misguided and wrong. Now, I also noticed the clover above the stars, right? So the clover above the stars can say that he's not taking his inspired guidance seriously. When his intuition is telling him he shouldn't be doing this, he's dismissing it. Okay? All right. So, the intrigue just kept growing. I kept thinking, like, who is this journalist and author? Yeah. He's in trouble. All right, so like I said, I have no feedback to share, and I doubt I'll ever get any. So, you can tell me what you say in here too, and we can all just wonder if we're right or wrong. All right. But, I want to share what I've been doing with this manifestation spread. Now, what is manifestation? It's you trying to achieve something, but you're trying to manifest it, which means you're not trying to force it or make it happen per se. You're just trying to line up all your stars, right? Get all your ducks in a row, and then it should just come to you. That's really what manifestation is. So say you really, really, really want something. You want a lover, you want $1 million, you want a perfect career, a house on the beach, a new car, whatever it is. You can use the cards to show you how your current thoughts, feelings, and actions are helping or hindering your progress. So the moon is the card of attraction. And it's the primary card you want to interpret for this spread, as I did in this example. But what else is involved in manifesting? Well, your desire, your thoughts, your imagination, or how easily you can visualize what you want. Was it Neville Goddard who said you have to visualize from the end? I know Wayne Dyer used to say that too. You have to see it as if it's already here, and then just forget about it, and then the universe will deliver it to you. That's the whole idea. Okay, so visualization. Also, your belief that the universe will deliver it to you. You have to have that childlike trust, right? So the cards I look at are the child, right? The child for the belief that the universe will deliver what you want, and the childlike trust that, yes, it will happen, and that's what creates that unwavering expectancy. All right, the bouquet for your creative ability to visualize what you want and for the ability to stay in a joyful state, right? The bouquet is the card of taking the time to smell the roses and just appreciating the simple things in life. If you can't keep your vibration high, I get so excited talking about this. If you can't keep your vibration high by staying in a good feeling place, all represented by, not by the coffin, by the bouquet. If you can't do that, your vibration will not match that of what you want. Because what you want is, you're wanting it simply because it's going to make you happy, right? You're going to feel better when you have it, right? You have to match that vibration in order to draw it to you. See where I'm going? Okay, the lily, to show whether or not you're in harmony with your desire. It's also the card for contemplation, and this is a big one, because contemplation is what you are thinking about often and at length and in a deep and profound way. All right, so that basically is what programs your subconscious. So we can look at the lily in this regard as representing your subconscious thoughts. Now, of course, the moon can also represent your subconscious, but we're using it for your attraction card in this type of spread. The heart will represent how well your feelings are aligned with your desire. Again, very important. And lastly, the stars represents your clarity regarding what you desire. Excuse me, because you have to be totally clear on what you want. You have to be very specific and very clear. Otherwise, you'll get something that resembles what you thought you wanted, but it's not exactly what you wanted. Excuse me, I have to take a drink. Okay, the stars also represents the progress you're currently making through inspired actions. And inspired is the operative word here, because if you're taking action toward what you want to manifest, but it's not inspired action, in other words, you're knocking yourself out, you're putting in great effort, you're doing things you don't want to do, you're dragging yourself to work every day, and you're working long hours, and blah, blah, blah. You're not going to manifest anything that way, okay? Or if you manage to get what you want, you're doing it the hard way. So any actions you take should be inspired actions, and they will be represented by the stars card. Okay, as for your thoughts, well, what cards represent your thoughts? Basically, you want to look at the card that falls directly above your card. That's going to show what you're thinking in this spread, right? You're going to set your intention that's going to represent what you are currently thinking about. And then the cards around it will tell you whether or not your thoughts are in alignment with what you're trying to manifest or not. The other cerebral cards will tell you this. Also, they are the birds, the book, the clouds, and the sun, too. The sun is the card of awareness, seeing things clearly, right? All right, so go ahead and give this a try. You can use different cards to represent the themes I just shared. You don't have to look at all of them in a spread. As you saw in this example, I only looked at one. I only looked at the moon, and I got all that information. I am going to make more manifesting Grand Tableau videos, or I might include an example in the Lenormand Summit presentation that's coming up. You know, I don't think I've even mentioned that in any of my videos. The Lenormand Summit, I am doing 2 presentations, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. Saturday will be the Petit Lenormand, method of distance, Grand Tableau, and the Sunday presentation will be on the Grand Jeu Lenormand. So if you haven't signed up for the Lenormand Summit yet, you will find the link in the description box below this video. So that's it for this video, my friends. As always, thanks for watching. Now decide what you want to manifest and go and play with your cards. Bye, everybody.